Distinguished dignitaries, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. After a very inspiring talk this morning on continued dedication to science and research, we are now set to enter a very exciting event. I welcome you all to the second convocation of the Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research. AcSIR has received the presidential assent in February of this year and has come into force on 3rd of April of this year. The creators of AcSIR has envisaged this to be a world-class institution for transdisciplinary science. And now we are treading the path of transforming this dream into reality. I now request the Acting Director and Chairman of the Senate of AcSIR, Professor Gautam Biswas, and the Acting Associate Director, Professor Nagesh Iyer, to accompany the Chairman of the Board of Governors, Professor Mashelkar, and the Director General of CSIR, Professor Brahmachari, to come onto the stage for the award ceremony. I request Professor Biswas to please give a brief overview about today's convocation program.
Esteemed Chairman of Board of Governors of AcSIR, Professor R.A. Mashelkar, Vice Chairman, Professor Samir Brahmachari, distinguished members of the Board, honorable members of the Senate, faculty and staff, esteemed guests and invitees, and my dear young graduates. I deem it a great pleasure and honor to be a part of the second convocation of AcSIR. Over the past 7 decades, CSIR has distinguished itself as a preeminent organization for scientific and technological products and high-caliber research. AcSIR is another great creation of CSIR. This is the occasion to remember the vision of Professor Mashelkar and Professor Brahmachari and their efforts in taking the AcSIR bill through the Parliament. I solemnly remember the contributions of late Sri Vilas Rao Deshmukh, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, who steered the bill successfully in the Parliament. The young graduates, today marks an important day in your lives and a significant milestone in your life's journey. By your hard work and by dedication to maintain the high standards, you have earned your degree. It's a moment of pride for you as much as it is for your teachers, parents, and those who had any role in shaping your life so far. Postgraduate Research Program in Engineering is a novel program executed by various CSIR laboratories in order to develop highly trained scientific manpower in the interdisciplinary areas of engineering. The students who are scientist trainees are selected through a rigorous selection procedure based on all India competition. The student trainees in this program undergo necessary courses for 2 semesters for a sound training in the fundamentals. At the end of the coursework, each student participates in one of the ongoing research programs of the laboratory and completes his or her thesis work. They are required to secure cumulative grade point average of 6.5 to be eligible for the award of MTech degree, although most of them have secured more than 8 CGPA. The second batch of PGRPE who are going to be given the MTech degree in this convocation had 11 different programs executed in various AcSIR laboratories. These programs are engineering of infrastructure and disaster mitigation, advanced semiconductor electronics, high-power microwave devices, advanced instrumentation engineering, mechatronics, material resource engineering, engineering of infrastructure and disaster mitigation. It was the road part was done in CRRI. This was another program. Advanced petroleum science and technology, engineering of flight vehicles, chemical engineering, modeling, simulation, and material processes, engineering of structures, environmental systems, modeling, and optimizations. A total of 77 students were enrolled, and 71 students are being conferred the degree. 6 students have opted for other opportunities elsewhere. From the depth of my heart, I wish each one of you success in your future endeavor. Thank you.
May now request Professor Biswas to conduct the award ceremony.
Let the candidates for the MTech degree of ACSIR from different academic specializations be proposed for the award of the degree.
Sir, I declare that the candidates who have satisfied the requirements for the MTech degree are considered worthy of receiving the same. I recommend that the names of the successful candidates as appearing on the screen behind are present here today, and they may be admitted to the said degree at this convocation. Sir, the candidates whose names appear on the screen behind are not present here today. They request that they may be admitted to the MTech degree in absentia. Each having satisfied the requirements of the said degree is considered worthy of it. I recommend that each of them be admitted to the said degree in absentia.
All the recipients of MTech degree, please rise. By the virtue of the authority vested in me as Chairman of the Senate of the Academic of Scientific and Innovative Research, I do hereby admit each one of these candidates to the MTech degree and charge them to prove the worthy of the same throughout their lives.
All recipients of the degree who are present here today, please follow me in taking the oath. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
All the candidates are admitted to the MTech degree of ACSIR. Thank you.
May I now please request the Vice Chairman of the Board of ACSIR and DGCSIR, Professor Brahmachari, to please address the students and the audience.
Chancellor of the CSIR Academy, AcSIR, Professor Mashelkar, the Director of the AcSIR, Dr. Gautam Biswas, and the Associate Director who is responsible for managing fantastically all the programs, alone doing the five Associate Directors' job at this moment he is doing, and Nagesh Iyer. Young, I don't know what to call you, AcSIRians or CSIRians, whatever it is, you just had the honor and the privilege of seeing in the morning a long legacy that CSIR has built. And we thought this is the most appropriate way of inducting you into part of the large family. You have done well during your course, and I understand large percentage of yours you have qualified with distinction. If I am correct, I think nearly 94%, am I right, have got distinction. Therefore, all of you are eligible to come and be allowed to participate in the CSIR, to continue to do your research and a PhD, and subject to you clear your interview well. I think you are the first batch after the Act of Parliament to have directly getting the MTech degree. But in the history you will be remembered as the second batch, and therefore you have to always compete with the first batch. And everybody is going to ask after 5 batches, which batch did better. Then we will start comparing and figuring it out which course did better. Normally in the university system, you forget that. Here you will not be forgotten because you will be tagged. And therefore we will have a GPS connectivity by which we will know everything about you, and we will know what you are doing, why are you doing, how well you are doing. I went through the marks that you have got. I realized our teachers are very generous and kind. I wish I had such teachers, because I never got such marks. You know, teachers were very miser. But I am very happy. Maybe you have worked very hard and got those marks. So I assume, bona fide doubt to you, in favor of you, that in spite of teachers being nice and kind, but you also worked very hard and did extraordinarily well in your exams. But life is not exam. Life begins, you are just beginning to be a part of the research scientific group. You have just qualified to hold a passport to enter to the world of science. And that's why today we wanted you to see the excitement of science, the people who have made well, young CSIR scientists who will be speaking after your program, and the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar awardees who will be chairing those sessions. And we have designed this program for you, because we want you to build a new India, a new CSIR, a new country, a new aspiration. So one of the things I will tell you that today you can acquire knowledge, you have intellect, you have skill, you have commitment, you can hard work. But I want all of you to develop sensitivity. Sensitive to the other's need, sensitive to the people who are less fortunate than you, and sensitive to the people whom you can make a difference. And we want in the CSIR those students of high intellect and scientific capability, those who have also highest level of sensitivity. Unfortunately, in the free India, in spite of building institutions after institutions, we have failed to create high level of sensitivity in many of our institutions and students. I'm sure Professor Rao mentioned about nationalism. I only said you should be sensitive. If you are sensitive to your family, to your parents, to your neighbors, to the downtrodden, the people who are less fortunate than you will make a difference for the society and the country. And I can tell you, you will have never have to think about others recognizing you. You will have your internal happiness, internal satisfaction. You will not give away your happiness in the hand of others. Because very often we like to give away our happiness in the hand of others because others decide whether you are good or bad. That's why in AcSIR we don't say who is first, who is second. We don't give awards and medals for first or second. We believe that all of you have a responsibility to do. Happened to be today's cricket match. Tendulkar did 0, but doesn't mean Tendulkar is 0, right? It doesn't mean. So one doing well is not good enough. You have to keep doing well every day and be sensitive to the need of others. And that's all I would like to say today. I'm very proud and happy that the AcSIR has become a reality, and our dream that large number of engineering and other students who would have otherwise not done research, we give them an opportunity to do research and they will make a difference for this country. I once again thank Dr. Mashelkar. In spite of his 11.5 years of responsibility as a CSIR DG, normally I knew first 3 years he had no interest to come back to Delhi. He never took any responsibility. I am glad that 15 years down the road, when he was asked to take this responsibility, he gladly said yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your guidance. I thank all of you who are here to witness a transformation, a transition of this nation. And you can see CSIR is a part of that journey. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words of wisdom, Professor Brahmachari. Now, may I please request the Honorable Chairman of the Board of AcSIR and the former Director General of CSIR, Professor Mashelkar, to please address the students in the audience.
Dr. Samir Brahmachari, the Vice Chancellor of our AcSIR, Professor Gautam Vishwas, Professor Nagesh Iyer, distinguished invitees, which include, as I see, some of the most iconic figures in Indian science, distinguished members of the Senate, the deans, the faculty, foremost, the proud graduates, their proud parents, ladies and gentlemen. I must say, this is a very unique afternoon. Unique for a variety of reasons. Unique because it's the 70th birthday of CSIR, an organization that has set unique benchmarks in excellence, in governance, in relevance, that the rest of the world can admire and emulate. Unique because it is the convocation of a unique academy, AcSIR. Unique because we are talking about ACSR, that is creating new paradigm shifts by weaving science and innovation together. Unique because we are creating an academy where something unique is happening in India. If you look at the MT degree awardees last year, out of 52, 51 chose to do PhD and not in the US or Europe, but in India. They stayed here. This is a unique phenomenon that's happening in India. This year, we have 71 of them, and of course we'll wait to see how many of them will continue, but I'm quite sure that majority of you will have this new realism that it was not just great to be an Indian, now it is great to be in India and do research in India. All right? Because the kind of physical and intellectual infrastructure that we provide in our academy is extraordinarily unique. Dr. Brahmachari, I was also just thinking it could be unique because for the first time in this great hall, Vigyan Bhavan, we would have held the convocation of a university, an academy. I don't think this would have happened in this. I want to congratulate all of you. You have done exceptionally well. I must say, share with you something. Yesterday I happened to chair the Board of Governors of our academy. And that Board of Governors has some of the most eminent people around the world. You know, one of them is Professor George Whitesides from Harvard University. He's an iconic figure. He's the highest cited scientist in the world. And yet, the market capitalization of the businesses that have been created based on the research that he has done is close to $30 billion. And he has shown in a very unique way how Saraswati and Lakshmi can coexist. It's a very unique example. A person like that came all the way from United States of America just to attend yesterday's meeting. That tells you how valued the academy to which you belong is from the perspective of one of the greatest living scientists of the world. Yesterday's discussion, yes, please feel free. You know, one wonderful thing about claps and smiles is that they don't cost anything. So have plenty of claps, plenty of smiles. Come on. And one of the unique things that happened in yesterday's board was also people admired simply what you have been able to achieve. They went through the results. You know, and the exceptional CGPAs that many of you have got, there was practically 30 to 40-minute discussion with regard to how come an individual like Rajendra Pawar, who has created NIT, which is one of the most unique institutions, he himself was puzzled as to how in this country you can get something like this. And there was an intense discussion on what makes you so special, or what makes this academy unique so that you are able to perform like this. I think you should be very proud to hear this. Why I'm mentioning this? Because by saying it, wonderful. Now you got it. Why I'm saying this is that you need to feel proud about what you achieved. Not from my eyes, but from the eyes of the others. You have seen the best of the world, so as to say. And they are applauding you. Okay? That's terrific. There are a couple of things I wanted to sort of highlight. You know what is the origin of the word engineer? It's a French word, actually. My French is not very good, so I will not even attempt to use that French word, but I'll tell you the meaning of that. It means ingenious. An engineer is supposed to be ingenious. In fact, there is a Lemme Medal, which is given by the American Institute of Electronics and Electrical Engineers, And you know what is the inscription on that medal? It says, engineer views hopefully hitherto unattainable. Hitherto unattainable. That means if somebody asks you what is your business, what do? You have to tell him that I make sure that what is hitherto unattainable, I attain it. I make impossible possible. Isn't it? That's what you have done. That's what you have done. I mean, you remember we used to ride on horses and today we have supersonic jets? You remember Wright brothers, the first experiment that failed? To fly, but the very idea of flying. And today we talk about air travel of an unusual dimension and magnitude. Engineers have made it happen, isn't it? Everywhere. And therefore, I want to remind you of the responsibility that you have, the challenge that you have as well as the responsibility that you have. And that responsibility is engineering our future. Okay? Engineering our future means engineering India's future. And that is where what our Vice Chancellor said becomes extremely important. The sensitivity part that he talked about. I put it, just to elaborate the point that he has made, slightly differently. You know, there are three parts that are critical in a human development. One is innovation. Innovation comes from the mind, right? The second is passion, passion in the belly, as they say. And third is compassion, compassion in the heart. For whom? As our Vice Chancellor said, for those who are less fortunate. Innovation, compassion and passion. And I believe your ability to develop that as you move along is going to be extremely critical. And therefore you will find that ACSR is the only academy which has designed the course content in such a way that you do have an opportunity to spend 6 to 8 weeks in looking at CSR 800 programs, which looks at 800 million people who are at the base of the pyramid, so as to say, and contribute there. And therefore, this twin objective on going up on excellence as well as doing something that is relevant, I think is the hallmark of ACSR. I must say here that ACSR was born out of the conviction and vision of Dr. Samar Brahmachari, our Vice Chancellor. I do know that the idea originated during the time I was DG of CSR, but it was all him, basically, right from conceptualization to delivery. And delivery means what? Making CSR happen, all right? It was not an easy process, by the way. Process that began in 2004, 2005, got completed only in 2011. So from concept to delivery, normally it takes 9 months, right? Here it took 7 years. It has been a hard delivery. And my heartfelt thanks on behalf of all of you to our Vice Chancellor. Give me a big hand. Vice Chair. The other point I want to make is that we are creating an academy with a difference. Our academy is geographically distributed from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and therefore we have a character of distributed learning, and yet we are trying to build a character of a single campus academy with an integrative learning. That's a very interesting challenge, isn't it? Nowhere else in the world such a thing had been attempted. So that is something unique. An academy where transdisciplinarity is the key, new breakthroughs, as we know, take place at the intersection of disciplines, and that's what we are going to do and promote. An academy where we don't have a written script, we don't have baggage of any legacy, and therefore, whatever we do is new, is novel, is up to us. The kind of freedom that the board enjoys, the chairman enjoys, the vice chairman enjoys, is enormous, as a matter of fact. I think hardly any academy or university in the country has that. And therefore, we can do great experiments in creating new pedagogies, for example, of teaching and learning, which have never been done elsewhere. And in fact, what we like to say is that we are not in the business of looking at the best practices and copying them. We are in the business of creating next practices. Not best practices, but next practices. And that is what will distinguish our academy. I am very, very proud, as I said, to have been asked to become the first chancellor of this academy. As they say, in a 1,000-mile journey, there are always first few steps that are important. We have taken just the first step. After all, we had just the first convocation, just the second convocations. But the fact that we are taking the right steps is absolutely obvious. Let me end here by recalling what happened on last 26 September and this 26 September. Last 26 September, I was standing on the same podium and giving the CSIR Foundation Day lecture, and sitting right here was our Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. Vilasrao Deshmukh. If somebody had told me, Samir, that this year again I'll be on this podium speaking, but he would not be there, I would not have believed it. If somebody had told me that last year you gave the CSR Foundation Day lecture, this year you will give the convocation address of ACSR, I would not have believed it. You know, it makes you philosophical. I must admire Mr. Vilasrao Deshmukh. He was a great Minister of Science and Technology, a tremendous human being, a great supporter of CSR. He was very close to our Vice Chairman and the Science Secretaries. He went out of the way to get things done. And one of the things that he went out of the way to get things done was ACSR. Because as you know, the process of getting legislations through, the bills through, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are very arduous, as you know. And I know for sure, personally, the kind of efforts that he has put up. And very frankly, but for his great efforts, and of course our Vice Chairman's effort, Academy would not have come into being. And therefore, what we have decided, CSIR is a very magnanimous organization. You know, we are grateful always to those who have helped us. So we are very grateful to Mr. Vilasrao Deshmukh, and what we have decided is that in ACSR, we will be creating a special fellowship which will be named after Mr. Vilasrao Deshmukh, and that fellowship will be extremely uniquely designed. You will see, I don't want to give all the details right now, and that will be reserved for the most exceptional of exceptional students. And by giving Mr. Vilasrao Deshmukh's name to that fellowship and remembering him every year, 50 years down the line, 100 years down the line, I believe we will preserve his memories in our mind for years to come. I want to end by recalling for you what our Honorable Prime Minister said this morning. He talked about ACSR while he was ending his speech, and talked about his expectations in terms of this becoming a world-class institution, right? So he has put the ball in our court, so as to say. That is how he ended his speech, as you must have seen. So I end my speech by recalling the responsibility that we have. The responsibility that we have to fulfill the expectation and the aspiration of the leader of this nation, the president of CSIR, about ACSR. And I'm quite sure that we'll make it happen, and we'll make it happen together, all of us together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Mashilkar, for your very inspiring words and sowing new thoughts into the young minds here. Thank you very much. Photo. May I invite all the students on stage for a photograph?